Welcome to the Stuff and Things Podcast, your home for all stuff related to your favorite things in entertainment. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello everybody and welcome to a new episode of the Stuff and Things Podcast. I am Sam, talking about Daredevil Born Again, the Season 1 finale today, Episode 9. And joining me is my partner in crime, it's Stefan.
Good morning, afternoon and evening.
Hey buddy. So, as a duo, if one of us was Daredevil and one of us was the Punisher, which way round do you think it would be?
Oh, you're the Punisher.
Yeah, that's probably right.
I'm too much of a wimp.
Oh, no, I don't. No, I wouldn't say. Yeah. But
Daredevil, kind of, no, Frank Castle doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, stronger moral compass. Yeah, probably. Yeah, because I was sort of mulling over these things in my mind because I'm sad and alone, and I was just trying to if I was one of these characters, which one do I associate with more?
Wilson
and
Fisk.
No, yeah, so, yeah. I came out as Vanessa. That's strange. But yeah, hello everybody. This is us talking about Daredevil Born Again, Season 1, Episode 9. The title of the episode was...
Straight to Hell.
And yes, it was.
Wow.
Me and you talked a little bit before the show aired. Actually, it was. I think it was right after last week's, where an interview was released via social media with the showrunners. It was kind of like can you give us anything to tease the finale and anything? And they just said it's violent. I kind of have an idea in my head of what I consider violent for TV shows, violent for movies, and a kind of what I consider violent for the MCU.
Yep.
And it's different. Do you know what I mean? It's like MCU violent is like, okay, I know what I'm going to see. I know there's not going to be a lot of blood, gore, or whatever. And I know this show is already shown. Oh, no. We are violent. Like, we are showing stuff.
Yeah, we're happy to take it to that next level.
I did feel I was still unprepared for the finale, though.
Yeah, there was definitely some moments in this where I kind of had to go, whoa, wow, okay, I'm really glad I'm eating my spaghetti bolognese at the same time. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was...
I mean, Fisk going full Kingpin, that was a wow moment. And then Frank Castle and Daredevil teaming up against the cops, or bad cops, was I went, wow, this is non-stop.
Yeah, it was it was crazy. So let's kind of start diving into it then, because there is a hell of a lot. Like, it was a very, very violent episode, but at the same time, I also felt similar to last week. I think you can really see the difference in the showrunners. Like,
yeah.
The show kind of episodes 2 to 7 were fine, like they were good, and like there's a lot in it, but the just the visually and the kind of one of the things I said about the Netflix era version of the show is it felt so gritty and so kind of street level. You felt like you could taste the blood, feel the dirt. It just felt like every punch landing, you really kind of felt it, were in amongst it.
Yeah.
I feel like the new showrunners with this have recaptured that. Like, there's stuff, like, there's the fight in Matt's apartment felt very visceral, very kind of like, oh, wow, oh, jeez, oh, God, Frank, no.
just blowing people out with the shotgun, yep.
Yeah. So let's dive into it, because the cold open, to me, is like a massive discussion point straight away. And the cold open is Vanessa, back over a year ago, meeting with... I will actually say this. It came up 1 year ago. That's wrong.
Oh.
Well, if you think about it, Foggy was killed, and then they did a time jump of a year, and then we've moved on about 6 months from there. Because we've had New Year's, Fisk has been there, all like the series is marched on.
Yeah.
So when this came up a year ago, you know that was wrong, and I thought that was kind of weird. Like
was
no
it like
one picked up on
somewhere
that.
between a year and 2 years ago? Somewhere
Basically,
within that
yeah.
sort of time frame. Yeah.
Yeah, 18 months ago would have worked.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just like it struck me like that. Okay, that's wrong. That's weird. I don't know why. And it's one of those silly things as well. I bet like the show's gone to air, and like a few people have probably pointed out. I doubt I'm alone. It's probably one of those things where everyone at the team's like looking at each other like, how did none of us work? What the guys? How did not one of us?
Do we not understand how time works yet? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I know it's the MCU, and we're kind of just messing with it. I did see a very, very fun fan theory as well, which I'm gonna put at the end because I think it ties it into the bigger MCU and has a really interesting connotation to it. Which yeah, I'm gonna put at the end because it opens up a lot. But don't let me forget, okay?
I will do my best to remember.
Yeah.
I'm writing it down
okay.
now. Remember at end. Okay.
So the cold open, Vanessa's. Me and you had kind of started piecing this together last week.
Yeah.
Matt literally pieced it together, and I think it was more me. I kind of questioned, okay, was it her? Is it kind of like definitely her? You know, is it just Matt's put two and two together because he wants it to be the Fisks? You know, I was also just kind of, Fog is still alive, and there's some way he's still alive, please. It's looking less and less likely.
That door is closing, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah. I feel like the door is closed, and I'm just like, my fingers are on the edges trying to pry it open a little bit. But in this scene, Vanessa is contracting Dex. Dex is in basically a mental asylum. He's very medicated. Now, I'm guessing they've got him so heavily medicated because that guy can turn anything into a weapon. Did you notice even his pen was like a marker?
It's like a felt tip pen. Yeah.
There was no point to it. So
Yeah.
you couldn't kill anyone with it. She moves his meds out of the way, which was kind of like, oh no. Yeah, you're bringing him back around. He signs the bit with the big sort of felt tip pen. He signs his name to basically say, you know, like, oh, here we go, off we go. I'm going to be pardoned. What did you think about that whole scene? I will just say, sorry, before I bring you in on this, I'm going to put this out there. My neighbours have got building works going on. If there is background noise, I apologise. I will try and edit it down, but yeah, there's not a lot I can do about it. But yeah, what do you think about this scene in the sort of greater context of things? And obviously, you know, Vanessa and her being Queenpin, if you like, at that time.
Yeah, I kind of... I enjoyed the whole thing of like, right, we're watching kind of her. She's learnt from Kingpin's manipulation.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there was a lot of Kingpin in what she was doing there. Even like the slyly just move. You don't need the medication. You don't need that. Just sign. There you go. Look, come on. There it is.
Yeah.
Sign it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
The manipulation level, and I called it as what it was going to be, but at the same time, I was still like, oh damn.
Yeah. One of the things in this scene, which, again, I'm not sure if it's deliberate or an error. Like, so the 1 year ago thing's clearly an error. You know, that's...
Yeah.
I'm not going to overthink it. You know, it's just what it is, but that's clearly an error. In this, she is contracting him to kill two people. To kill this guy who we knew as Benny, like dumb Benny, and to kill Foggy Nelson. He doesn't kill Benny, as far as I'm aware. Unless that happens off screen and it's just not mentioned. Because if we go back to episode 1, he uses Benny to get Foggy's location.
Yes.
Because he's on the phone to him when he's shot.
Yep.
And then Matt takes him out. So he doesn't kill Benny. Benny's still alive, or someone else does it.
That's a good point. Yeah, the only person we actually do see get killed.
Yeah, and he's on the phone to Benny at that time, because remember he apologises to him. He says, I'm sorry, Foggy. He just wanted to know where you were.
And then he gets shot. Yeah.
So Ben is still alive, and I've been looking around on this because I'm kind of like, have I missed this? But like, no one else is talking about it. So
has he been killed off? Did he go for him after?
Well, we couldn't have because he got thrown off the roof. Then
no, you're right.
Yeah.
Who the heck took out Benny then?
Well, is he taken out? Is he alive? I mean, I'm going to pose this question.
That's a guy definitely in hiding if he's still alive.
Oh, massively, because he basically not only was being hunted by the Fisks and Bullseye, but now Matt's going to be pretty pissed at him as well because he set Foggy up.
Gosh, yeah.
Yeah, there's like when the good guy and the bad guys are hunting you, I think you're kind of screwed.
There's not a level of hiding, I think, enough.
No.
To hide from Daredevil. I mean, he can hear a gun robbery going off through a bank's walls, so you've got no chance.
No, but yeah. So that was the opening scene for me. I liked it. I didn't like the, in storyline I didn't like it because I'm like, oh, I want Foggy to be alive, you bitch. How dare you? But I liked it. But then to me it was actually a little bit problematic. Like to me, like the 1 year ago thing was wrong, and Benny, well, he wasn't killed. So that's like a massive loose end to the story that has not been picked up at all.
That seems crazy.
Of course we got. I mean, we got season 2, obviously, but that's still, at no point when Matt and Karen are like doing their investigations do even go, I mean, we should probably try and find that Benny guy. It's like everyone's just acting like he's dead, but at no point do I think, like, I don't know, well, who killed him then? I don't know. Like I said, I could be wrong. Perhaps I'm misremembering it. So, and I know people will tell me if I'm wrong. So do get in touch. But yeah, I'm sort of at the point now where I'm after the podcast is recorded, I'm 100% going back to double check I'm right.
That's it. We can edit it before you put it out live. It's fine.
Yeah. Nah, it's fine. I don't mind people knowing I get stuff wrong. Probably one of those moments in this show which felt most. I've titled this in my notes. Oops. Matt obviously took the bullet for Fisk.
Yes.
Matt is then in the hospital. Matt wakes up, and his beloved girlfriend Heather, really important, everyone remembers her name is Heather, rushes to his bedside, still covered in his blood on her beautiful dress, and he says, Karen?
Oof. There was a little part of me that was like, oh, okay, that's awkward. But then the other part of me went, wait a minute, they've reshot these 2 bits. Oh, I wonder.
No.
I wonder.
No. I think that was a fuck up. Now, I think he could have covered it. Like, I think he could have, like, played it off by then going, are you here to complain, you Karen? But no, he didn't. He was too groggy for that.
Yeah.
No. He fucked up, and it was, to me, her face was her facial acting in that moment was incredible.
And is it Kirsten? Like, the eyes. It's probably just medication.
Yeah.
It's fine. Oh dear.
Yeah, no, she did everything she could as a wingman to him right there, but
yeah,
there was no saving that. And I'd go as far as to say that greatly impacted her then joining Fisk.
Yes,
like that moment was just like, oh wow, saying another woman's name, are you? And then of course we see later on Heather has joined Fisk's cabinet, Mayor Fisk's cabinet, as the city's mental health advisor.
If anyone needs a mental health advisor, it's probably Fisk himself, because that guy is
Well, I'm just curious to what this role is going to be, because he's just sealed the city by shutting all the bridges and the tunnels, so that the city's sealed off to the world right now. And he's created martial law. He's done all of these things. Oh yeah, and you're going to be my mental health advisor. I mean, day one, she's going to be like, bad. It's bad. I'm advising you. Everyone is in a bad place now, and it's because of you. But then there is a flip side to this, which is kind of interesting, because when she was talking to Matt about she had to kill what was his name?
Muse.
Oh wow, yeah, Muse. God, that went. Do you know what? I just had mime in my head.
Well, she had to kill the mime. No,
yeah,
no,
and I was
wrong crime.
Yeah, I was like, I knew that was wrong, but I was just like, but he did look like a mime. Now my brain's like going.
As much as I feel like mimes are a crime in themselves, bit different to what Muse was doing.
Yeah, awful. One of the funniest things I ever saw was a mime artist get punched. I don't know why it was so funny, but it was. I mean, it's awful. It's terrible. I shouldn't laugh at that, but I did laugh. It was funny. Circling back to this after demonstrating what a horrible person I am.
That's right, because you said mime, and all I can think of is the Detective Pikachu film now. So that's fine. Let's move on.
Wow, our brains are very. I'm definitely Frank compared to you, 100%. So she said that to Matt, if you remember, about Daredevil and Muse are just boys wearing masks to justify their violence. So she actually a little bit is already kind of Team Fisk with the whole anti-vigilante thing. So I feel like the Karen moment just gave her that push to be like, do you know what, Matt, screw you. You're telling me what a bad guy Fisk is, but actually I agree with him on this. All these vigilantes are assholes.
Yeah, I mean, from her experience,
yeah,
you can understand it.
Do you think there is a future for their relationship right now?
I can't see it, because she's looking at Matt, like when Matt was going on about the whole, he's just using you to get to me and stuff. For her, she even said, like, I'm now getting, like, professionally concerned about you right now.
Yeah.
And I think that was a push. The whole going on about Fisk was one push. The Karen thing was another push. Now that she's joined Fisk's kind of cabinet, I cannot see there any way that goes back.
Can you... Because Matt will know if she were... Like, let's say Matt comes completely clean to her. Like, I am Daredevil. Here is all the history. Here is everything. And she's like, oh my god, that's terrible. Okay, I'll be your spy. Matt knows if Fisk finds that out, she's dead. So there's no way he'd want to put her in that position. Like, that'd just be terrible. Yes. But then he must also know having a relationship with her in that cabinet would be impossible, because Fisk knows who he is. And so if those two are... And he's tried to kill him once, in this episode. He sends Buck to kill him.
Which was, fairly impressive scene. There cannot be a future for those two.
No, it's got to be done. I mean, it's almost like Matt would have to be like, you've done what? Well, it was nice while it lasted. Take care.
Yeah, bye.
That's. I mean, that's going to be. I know there's such a bigger picture and all the kind of comic book violence and everything in the show, but that's interesting. That dynamic, that relationship is going to be really interested in season 2. I just mentioned...
Yeah, I mean, if there is a relationship there, I guess.
Well, I mean, there's going to have to be some sort of resolution, isn't there? There's going to have to be some sort of, what happens next. Because technically she just left the hospital and said, I'll see you later. She then becomes Fisk's cabinet during the blackout, whereas Matt obviously has a very different blackout. Speaking of the blackout, circling back then, Fisk is angry and he's ranting and raving, smashing the desk. There's a really sort of cool moment where the chief of police does this kind of recoil in terror when he does it, because I think in that moment he sees him as Kingpin, not Fisk. Although he's been saying that all along, like, oh, you're still Kingpin, you're this, you're that. When he's doing that and he's like the power of the man, and he's just like, oh, shite.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. I'm out.
The wrong side of that guy.
I do not want to be here. Fisk has a plan. He talks about the city just needing a little push to understand, to be on his side with these things. And that little push is he causes a blackout, which he later pins on vigilantes, saying a vigilante tried to kill me, and then then sabotage to our power grid, cause the blackout.
Yeah, that was a mental kind of thing, wasn't it? Like, even the visuals for all of that, everything that happened during that blackout. Wow.
Oh, insane. I mean, let's just talk a little bit about. So, Buck is sent to kill Matt. They have this kind of like, do you think, by the way, that Buck knows? Do you think Fisk has told him? Because the way they converse, and he says it could muddy the optics. It's like Buck knows he's Daredevil.
I did wonder.
Yeah,
I did wonder
think
if
he
they'd
must
shared that information or not.
Yeah, I think he must know. I think we need to kind of look at Buck as the kind of the new Wesley, where he's fully up to date with everything.
Yeah.
Because he's right. And we said that last week. Matt, why would Matt do it? And actually, there could be. I think you said, and I was like, oh, did he calculate it that fast? Where it's kind of like, he can't out me now, because if he does, I'm a vigilante who's just saved his life. That goes against everything he's saying. And it would appear that Fisk and Buck do that math as well. And are like, well, maybe if just the lawyer succumbs to his wounds, he's just a hero lawyer. And Buck's
yeah,
like,
no, he doesn't. He says better a dead hero than a living vigilante or something. So Buck must know. Yeah.
Yeah, so Buck's just like, got it. Understood, boss. You don't have to say anything else. I'm on it. You see this amazing scene visually for me of just like this get well soon bag being carried into the hospital. I loved that. That felt so, and I'm like, is it a bomb? Has he got a gun in there?
I was thinking gun.
Yeah.
But the way when he puts
pistol.
it on the floor outside the door, my brain went to, oh my god, he's going to blow the hospital up.
It's the way he waits, and I'm like, what's he waiting for? What's he waiting for? And then just the power goes out to the whole city. I'm like, oh wow, this is so good.
So
like,
well
this
planned.
Is so good. And he walks in, and you see the syringe. You're like, oh wow, they're like really, really well planned. Like, make it look like he just died of natural causes. And Matt is out of there.
Good old Matt's heard them coming and gone, nope.
Nope. I did it again, and this is the kind of the blackout chaos. So obviously hospitals have generators which are kick in, but it won't kick in for like a moment. So there is that chaos of the power's gone out, generators are kicking soon sort of thing or whatever. But in that chaos, Matt just slips out, gone. I love the fact that Matt left the hospital in the gang and walked home in the gang and basically went up to his apartment. So asked to the world, just like flapping in the breeze.
No shit's given whatsoever.
Did you notice when he walked into his apartment, he smiled?
No.
Yeah. So when he walks in, he sort of does that head tilt to the side, smiles, and then carries on. I'm like, okay, someone's there.
So I'm like, obviously he knows, he can hear them and stuff like that.
So I'm like, okay, someone's there. And then when he sits down on the sofa, then he goes, of all the people I was expecting, it was like, of all the people, you're the last person I was expecting. And then you hear that kind of Punisher shriek music kick in, and it's like, you're an asshole. I'm like, oh my god, Frank's here. How did you feel in that moment when the Punisher returned?
I loved it. I think, I can't remember if I said on the last week's podcast, or I was meant to say on last week's podcast, that I was I knew the reruns had to be done, like the reshoot stuff, but I was disappointed at the lack of Punisher.
Yeah, okay.
And I can't remember if I said it or if I was going to say it and I forgot.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah,
said.
So for him to then appear there, I'm like, yes, here we go.
Yeah.
And then your brain goes to wait a minute, they said this was going to be a really violent episode. Oh yeah, Punisher's here. Okay,
that's literally where my brain went. Was this? So when I loaded Disney Plus, the still image for the episode was Daredevil and Punisher stood next to each other. So I was like, okay, Punisher's going to show up.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, cool. When that moment happened, and he stood there, and he's like that. So much is going on in the dialogue here. Because Matt's like, what, you shaved and cut your hair for me? No, he didn't. We know he didn't do it for Matt. He did it for somebody else.
Yeah.
and that somebody else made a phone call, and he says, like, why are you here, Frank? Oh, well, I was staying out of it, but then I got a phone call that changed my mind. You want to elaborate on that? I do not.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know who that was. 100% I know who that was. That was Karen.
Well, there was that little part of me that when he said that, I was like, oh my God, Foggy's still alive.
Oh, no.
And then I was like, no, wait a minute. I know who he is. Yeah.
To me, it was fully Karen because those two had a really close kind of connection. It was like, couldn't quite ever tell if it had moved to romantic or not, but it was like right there.
Yeah.
And in this, where he says to him, like, no, like, I had a phone call, and then he's like, he's shaved, he's cut his hair, he's looking sort of semi, I mean, it's Frank, he's always going to be battered and bruised and cut here, there, and everywhere.
But at least he cut his hair. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Like, so it was kind of crazy. In reality, just so everyone knows this, the episode earlier that was shot where he was that was his look for the season. However, due to them then doing all these reshoots and everything and him coming back at a different time, he was filming a film called The Accountant 2.
Yeah.
And everyone will notice that it's the same look. just so everyone's fully aware. But yeah, that is good. It's brilliant. I mean, and they worked it in perfectly with just that little line. And all of us are like, oh, I know why he's done that. I know why he's neatened himself up.
Yeah.
What did you think to the line that he gives? Like, did you clock those assholes outside? Yeah, they're coming. I'm telling you right now, I'm not playing pat a cake with these fanboys. I'm putting them down.
I loved it. I was like, yes. Oh. And again, my brain's whirring to the whole. It's going to be a very violent episode.
I know.
I'm like, and then we had that running joke on the Netflix, like the corridor scene or the staircase scene. We've already had one of those in this show very early on.
Yeah, we did.
But there was that little part where it was like, oh my God, we're going to get another corridor scene. Here we go. And what we got instead was so much more violent.
Was like a full room scene of just absolute carnage.
Like they went for it.
The thing, I like that because this to me kind of flashed back to that moment where the two of them were on that roof in Daredevil season 2. And they were having that argument, and I love that argument because both sides in that you're like, well, yeah, Daredevil's right. You shouldn't be judge, jury, and executioner. And then the Punisher's making the point of you beat them up, they go in jail for a day, they come out and they do the exact same damn thing.
Yep.
I hit them, they stay hit. And it's like, yep, he's kind of got a point there as well. Okay, and I loved that.
The bad
scene.
guy's not going to do bad again once the bad guy's dealt with by Punisher. Yeah.
And the Punisher's like, and everyone I killed deserved it. And he's like, well, who's that judge, Frank? Me.
Yeah, I am.
So, yeah, who's judging that? Me. Well, what if they had that one little bit of light in them? Too bad. Too bad, Red.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that he calls him Red all the time. Refuses to call him Matt.
Doesn't even call him Daredevil. Literally just Red.
Red. Yeah, love that. That's just a beautiful detail and so frank. But yeah, that line about I'm not playing pat a cake with them, like I'm going to be straight up murdering them. And Matt's like, I don't think I need that kind of help, Frank. He's like, well, that's the help you got.
I love that as well. Like, you can tell Matt's kind of like, no, come on, we don't do that sort of thing. Come on, that's not how this all works. And Frank's like, no, it is for me.
The dialogue between the two of them's great. Like, Matt walking off to get into the Daredevil gear, and he's like, what are you going to do, fight these guys with your ass hanging out? Middle finger goes up.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. The two of them are great. And then we do have the anti-vigilante task force, the AVT, storm the building. They come in. Now, I don't think, and I could be wrong, but I don't think the AVT know that Matt is Daredevil. I think they went into that room thinking they were grabbing a lawyer, a blind lawyer. Because they went in like kind of stealthy, he's blind, he's a lawyer, we don't need to hammer down the door, it's fine, we'll just open the door and walk in, it's all good. They didn't go in there, to me anyway, looking like they were thinking they were about to fight the Daredevil.
No, you're right, it was a bit of a strange one, it really was, because I wasn't sure really what it was they were going to do, because, like you say, if they're just going to get a blind lawyer, why have they sent like the entire truck full? A blind lawyer, one or two, just go pick him up, put him in a car, done.
Yeah. And also, what's Fisk told them they're going to get, because he just saved Fisk's life. So what are they actually doing there? Like, are they going there like, is Fisk sent them like, oh, go and arrest him for his own protection? He's like run away from the hospital and he's, you know, in the blackout, he's being hunted. Or have they been told, oh yeah, we found out he's Daredevil, go and arrest him? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I genuinely don't know. But Matt kind of takes no chances and he comes in through the ceiling as Daredevil.
I mean, a fair point. Also, the lead guy who does the anti-vigilante task force has already had his ass handed to him by the blind lawyer.
Yeah.
So I suppose that could be a bit of, go get him, and he's turned around and gone, yeah, like, fuck, I'm taking the guys.
Yeah.
Oh, I've had an argument with that guy before and watched him shove my friend's hand up his own. Like, no, I'm taking the guys with me.
Yeah, I do think there could be a 2 and 2 plus 2 equals as well. Like, hang on a minute, that a blind lawyer just kicked my ass. That's Daredevil. You know, like, I mean, we don't know. There's a few question marks on it, but let's just enjoy the violence for a moment. Daredevil comes crashing in, starts whooping ass like he does. And, like, so there's probably, like, a few seconds of just him versus this task force. And then you hear a shotgun blast and a guy's head basically go recoiling forward with blood. And it's Frank.
Just stood outside on the balcony. Like, I was just waiting for a guy to walk there. It's fine.
It is such an escalation. And when I say such an escalation, I mean, there's the fact that we know he shoots to kill, Matt hits to knock out.
Yeah.
That's kind of, we already know that. But when he comes in the room and he hits that guy into that, like, counter, smashing all his teeth, and then shoots him in the head like 3 times. Yeah. Like, you don't need to do that. That was so unnecessary. But so, like, when he's in that kind of Punisher rage, it's just insane.
Oh, the like, level insane. Of violence when he kind of... Does he red mist? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But whatever it is that he does... Oh my
also,
God!
John Bernthal with just the almost like animalistic grunts as well. Oh, it's like, oh Jesus! Like, I don't know why, but it just adds to it, like this kind of intense, insane individual, and you could actually hear Matt, Frank, no, like, Frank, what are you doing? And he's just bang, bang, just shooting everybody. Oh, there's this one moment where the guy manages to clip Frank, and he recoils round and shoots, slides on his knees, shoots 2 through a wall, and then jumps up and over a counter, smashing into another guy who he then basically just stabs and mutilates.
Yep.
And that was all like a one-shot kind of thing. And I was just like, oh wow, that is beautiful. It was so good. Like, that was...
And then there's that little part of me that's like, is there something wrong with me that I think that was beautiful?
It just... yeah, probably, man.
Do I need to talk to someone?
Probably, yeah. We'll book in with Heather soon. It's like, we really like the Vigilantes, Heather. Tell us why they're bad. Because, I mean, Frank don't wear a mask. You know, her whole thing about, just wearing a mask to hide their violent tendencies. No, Frank straight up.
Frank does not give a...
Yeah. I am Frank Castle, and I am here to murder you all.
See my face? Good. Last thing you see. Good night. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. I don't need to worry about witnesses. Why? I need none. But there's this great moment where the guy, Frank, they save each other. So there's a guy coming up behind Frank, and Daredevil hits him, and as he does that, Frank shoots a guy in the face, of course, who's coming up on Matt. And Matt kind of does that head to the side thing, like, like I just knocked that guy out to save you, and you shot that guy in the face.
Yeah.
What then gets even funnier is the guy that Matt knocked out, who Frank was like, Frank then shoots in the face to make a point.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god. Like, the whole dialogue between the two of them, like, and he's saying, like, do it, Red. Because Matt's going through this whole thing, like, this is the guy who killed Hector. They find the bullet case in. They know it's this guy. And he's ready. He's like, in his mind, he's remembering Hector hugging him. And he's like, ready to go. You see him physically move forward. Frank's like, do it, Red. Which is really bad. That's like the devil on your shoulder. Like, no, let him keep his conscience, Frank, for God's sake. And then he's like, no, he's not worth it. So Frank's like, all right, I'll do it. And so he stands in the way of him. He's like, really? You're going to stick up for that piece of shit? What about that one? Bang! Oh, God. I am helpless. It's just like, oh, you're so bad.
Yeah, Frank's whole demeanour is just incredible.
Oh, it's so good. Now, the two of them are then kind of like squaring off. Like, Matt's like, what are you doing? And Frank, I mean, he's amped. So the two of them are kind of squaring off while that guy behind has just got a knife through his hand stuck to a wall.
Knocked out, just laying there like, yeah.
And someone throws a grenade. Matt hears it. The two of them run to the balcony.
Shut up! What? Grenade?
Yeah,
oh!
Yeah, that was brilliant. He jumps, grabs Frank, throws his thing. Now, earlier in this season, there were a number of what I would class as a little bit ropey CGI moments where they did that swinging thing, and I was kind of like, that looks a little bit clunky. It takes me out a little bit.
Yeah.
They didn't show it. I'm delighted because you didn't need it. I didn't need to see them swing like Spider-Man. I knew what happened. You saw him grab him, throw that, so I know he's used it to kind of control their landing a bit. They land on a car, which is funny. Some poor bastard sat in his car.
Yeah, bye-bye. And then you see Frank Castle jump off the side. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And then we have one of those brilliant moments of like, you're an asshole, Frank. Yeah, I know. and then a car arrives. Headlights. Blinding the two of them, lighting them up in the middle of the street. The door opens. You have the original Daredevil music from the Netflix era. And then it just stops as Karen steps out of the car.
Yeah!
And again, it was like beautiful fan service and fitted the story great. And just a little line, and I'm laughing again. She's like, okay, you two get in. And Daredevil, shotgun. Just, oh God, just so stupid. Like, it's the two of them. Oh my God. There's also a little moment in this which is kind of, again, a little bit throwaway, but then they tie it in a minute where when Frank sees Karen, I think his heart rate changes because Matt just looks at him and just stays focused on him. And it's kind of funny because obviously Matt can't see, so when he turns his head, he's not actually looking at him, but it's kind of like, I'm going to turn my face to you because you need to know I'm knowing this.
I'm watching I'm listening, yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of, I mean, he says like something to Karen later on about that.
Must be the adrenaline.
Yeah. I loved it. It was so good. Obviously, like we talked about the violence there, but obviously Karen reappearing in this episode, and then the kind of like the sewing up scene. What did you think?
So I kind of like the little part where I was like, no, that should be Nurse Claire. Nurse Claire used to look after them all. Where is Claire?
She's in Star Wars now.
She's still in Star Wars, painted her colour. Yeah. No, it was so good to kind of see them two characters back together.
Yeah.
And okay, obviously they were missing one major character, but you can kind of see how the two new showrunners and writers were in these last two episodes like, right, we need to get this back to what it should be.
Yeah, agreed.
And you can kind of see that a lot, especially like with this scene as well. It's like, this is how it should be.
Yeah.
So I was very, very, very happy to see Karen back.
When they have this scene with the Punisher, and there's a moment which I think anyone who was a big fan of the Netflix era of these shows will have picked up on. Me and you picked up on it, but I don't think anyone else will. and I can't make my mind up if that is really great. There's just this kind of like little in joke, or if it's kind of like maybe it's not an in joke at all. It genuinely was what they were saying it was, and it's us who's kind of like, oh, we know what that means.
Oh no! If they've put that in there, that's for a reason, surely.
I'm talking about the coffee.
Nothing can't be solved with a bit of coffee.
Well, he says a good coffee.
A good coffee. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. So in the Netflix era of these shows, just in case people are listening who didn't watch them, it became a little bit of a running thing that if you invited someone for a coffee, you were going to be banging them any minute later. It started with Jessica and Luke Cage. Luke Cage then took that to another level where every woman he met, he basically said, you want a coffee? And they enjoyed a black coffee for sure. And then it became a thing across all of it, to the point that there was a really funny interview with Deborah Ann Wool where she said it became such a running joke and such a running theme that people were then afraid on set to invite someone for a coffee. Hey, do you want to get a coffee after work? Do you mean like, no, I mean just go to Starbucks. Damn.
My house or yours? Costa.
Yeah, Costa. Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
kinky in public.
Other coffee places are available. So yeah, that kind of made me laugh. But yeah, I felt that was very deliberate, and there was this kind of tension between the two of them. And Matt's kind of like in the background, like, you're just gonna bang. I know I'm blind, but I can hear. Like, what the shit, guys? But yeah, that felt very pointed, very kind of, and then they kind of snapped out of it when he went, what about you, Red? Do you want some coffee? He's like, yeah, do you have any oat milk? He's like, oh, motherfucker. Yeah, I loved that scene. And
I now want to find out if oat milk is like some sort of euphemism for protection or something. I don't know.
Oh, God, no. Oh, no. Where are we going with that? Oh, no. Right, I'm just going to move on.
He's looking at Karen. He's like, yeah, I do, but have you got any of the oat milk? What?
Oh, no. You're now insinuating it was going to be a double team with Karen, and this is an entirely different show. I know it's rated 18, but...
Not the way that was going? Okay, well, we're talking about coffee.
I think you've downloaded a different Defenders saga. I think I've downloaded the wrong one. So... we then have this kind of interesting thing again. The Frank and Matt dynamics obviously very kind of friction based. Daredevil needs to go and do these things. He wants to investigate this stuff. Frank's kind of like, yeah, whatever. I'm not an investigator. Fuck you. Kind of off you go.
I will shoot them. I will not read about them. It's kind of his attitude. Yeah.
And Matt's kind of like, oh, whatever, and leaves. And Karen does this. I don't believe you. I'm not buying it. And Frank looks at her and he's like, I'm not buying it that you don't care. And I'm kind of like, oh, she just gets him. And he hates that.
Yeah.
He's like, he has this kind of look of like, oh, you and your Eunice.
I feel like she definitely could get him.
What did you think to the moment where he said, you asked me for a favour? And she's like, yes, I did. And he's like, and I did it. And she's like, yes, you did.
Yeah, I'm like, what's the next thing here? Like,
well, yeah, I was kind of like waiting. Was he gonna say, so now you owe me a favour?
You owe me a favour, or does he just want a thank you, or paying?
No.
Like, you never know with Frank. Like,
so when we gonna get that coffee?
Yeah.
It just there was something to that which again got kind of left up in the air. So we'll have to kind of wait and see, I guess. But the overriding thing to that is we saw him grab a radio off of one of the anti-vigilante task force, kept it to one side, and when they leave, he puts it on the side to listen to.
Yes.
So Karen's whole I'm not buying that you don't care was absolutely right. He does care. And he's basically in his lair, if you like, listening to that. And later on, he does hear, like, they're going after the blonde lady, whatever, and he's like, no, you fucking are not. And he stands up, grabs his shotgun, and out he goes. Frank's going hunting.
See, you've taken that slightly different to how I took it then.
Oh, okay.
I took it as Frank being Frank wanted to know where the hideout, like where HQ was. Because as soon as they keep saying about, heading back to Red Hook, everyone's heading back to Red Hook, I was like, he's going to just go and wipe the rest of them out. Like I took that as he was going to get revenge on the fanboys. He wanted to know they were all in one place, and he was just going to go kick some ass.
Well, man, you could be right. Yeah, no, you could well be right. I mean, as either way ties into him quite well. He does go there, and it's an ambush. They've kind of set this trap for him, but he goes there and he's just straight up murdering them.
Oh yes.
He kills the one guy with a knife to the throat and blood go. I mean, it was just like, oh wow, okay, yeah, this show's going there. And then he is straight up murdering, but just the sheer weight of numbers, I think, get to him in the end. He takes a couple of shotgun blasts to the vest, which sort of takes him down, and then once he's down, he's kind of beaten down, and they tie him up. So, I got a question for you here, which I think is comic book plot armor. Knowing that he's ripped through and killed a lot of them in front of them violently, probably hurt the others, why would they leave him alive?
Because at some point in the next 12 months we have a Punisher series coming out.
No, I know. Yeah.
And they really need the character to be alive for that to work.
I know that. So, but I'm talking logically in the moment.
No, I was a bit worried.
Bit.
They put the shields up around him, and I was like, oh my god, they're literally going to beat him to death.
Yeah.
And then obviously they don't. And it was like, oh, okay. Are they... Is it a fact that they are such... Like when they sit him down in the chair, they are so fanboying. It's like, please work with us. Go on.
That to me, that to me is the way they sold it was that. Now, he basically calls them all clowns, tells them all to F off, and kind of starts getting his rage going, like, you think you know me, you understand me, and it's like, okay, that's kind of intense. You know, you chained to a chair, they've just beaten you down, shot you multiple times, and you're ready to go. It's like, Jesus, it's Frank. They obviously then, like, when he rejects them, they all sort of take a bit to, like, beat him down a bit more. But I guess in my head, there is a slight logic problem of why wouldn't you put a bullet in his head at that moment? Like, I get the fanboying, I get that they wanted him. Is it possibly as simple as Fisk and that lot want them all in cages as a kind of, look what we did, you know, I've got the Punisher in a cage on a leash. You know, is it to that extent of kind of power trip, perhaps? Because when you see Fisk and Vanessa take that walk past everyone in the cages, it did feel very kind of like a display. Like each cage was individually lit.
Yes.
like it was an art exhibit. It was very kind of check us out, vanity project.
That
so
walk through the middle was just, there's them two walking through them all. They're all of our bad guys that we've got kept in cages, and it's like, oh, wow. It's almost like a day at the petting zoo.
A very violent petting zoo. Like the Punisher one hisses and spits, for sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be petting any of them. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't go to the Punisher exhibit. That's for damn sure.
I like the fact we saw the swordsman was in the first one.
Yeah. So he got locked up. It looked to me like there was just a lot of the billionaires in there. Now, I don't think they were all superheroes. I'm guessing he's kind of captured wives, husbands, kids maybe, and is blackmailing the others. Remember we talked about that after the last episode?
Yeah.
Of like how frantic that woman looked. Kind of like, oh, where's my husband? And then we see him in this cage. So yeah, I do think perhaps this is not just vigilantes have been locked up there, but this is kind of like everyone who's just pissed his Fisk off is now locked up here.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this now because it ties in. The show does have a mid-credit scene.
It does.
And the mid-credit scene.
Can we also just point out the heroes at Disney Plus that actually put up a little skip credits box so you can press the button and just go straight to the scene?
Oh no, I didn't know.
Amazing.
This is the most predictable thing ever in the history of the world, but to me it was also delightfully predictable. It was kind of like, I know what's going to happen, and this guy should know what's going to happen.
Oh, man. Yeah, like,
But
come
it's
on.
funny.
Training day 1 should surely have been.
But I think this ties in beautifully to the fanboy thing. All of these idiots are, like Frank says, his fanboys.
Yeah.
So when he's talking to him and he's like, oh, you're from Jersey. And he's like, yeah, you're from Jersey. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, this guy's falling for it. This is amazing. And he's like, shake my hand. Nice to meet you. And I'm like, dude, please don't be this stupid.
Crunch. Oh, he was that stupid. Yeah.
He shakes his hand and goes, thank you. Crunch. So Frank's escaped.
Yeah.
Interesting side note to this, right? We know in that moment that Frank is getting out of there.
Oh, yeah.
Is Frank getting out of there, letting everyone else out of the cages, being a hero? Or is Frank just leaving?
Oh, we all know exactly what Frank's doing. He's waving goodbye with the middle finger as he goes out the door.
I'll tell Red where you are. He'll sort it out. He's got a conscience. Yeah.
Some bloke with horns will be here soon. Don't worry. It's fine.
Yeah, they're feeding you. What more do you want? Just like, I don't see Frank leaving that with like an army of people behind him that he's saving. It just feels like, yeah, I'm gone. Laters.
I would love it if the Punisher season picks up from that exact start point.
I think it's worth pointing out it's not a season, it's not a show, it's a special. It's a special presentation.
Oh,
so like,
yes, you're right. Yep.
Like Werewolf by Night, so it'd be like a hour or maybe hour and a half kind of special thing.
Kind of like a bit of a short movie.
Yeah, basically, yeah. They're calling them special presentations on Disney Plus. But yeah, it'd be interesting. I'm not entirely sure when. I think that's due out after Daredevil season 2. So I'm not entirely sure, because when it was originally announced, there were rumors it was going to be this year in the autumn.
Yeah.
But I know he's filming a big film, Homer's Odyssey. So that wouldn't tie in. So I'm guessing it must be next year. It must be, because they confirmed yesterday that season 2 is next year for Daredevil, March, same time.
Yeah.
Which is brilliant. I'm so happy about that. They also confirmed it'd be 8 episodes. And then Brad Winderbaum also gave an interview where he said they are now very much hoping they can get a season 3 and more. They want ongoing television. So that pleased me. That made me very happy.
Yep.
But yeah, the Punisher, I'm guessing we're going to get season 2 of this and then the Punisher special presentation after that. So, I mean, he's got to be in season 2. He's got to be. I mean, he's down listed as the cast. So him escaping from here, I think, is going to go into season 2 of this rather than into. It
says on, I mean, IMDb, you don't know how much you can kind of trust of that, obviously, but
no. It
does say he's in 10 episodes.
Yeah. So yeah, the 8 for season 2. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, they did announce that he was casting it, but then they also announced that the guy who plays Foggy is cast in season 2, and right now it's just going to be his ghost, and I don't like that. We see Matt and Karen piecing stuff together from what Foggy had worked on, and we have the avocados at law moment that threw straight back to the Netflix era. Was that a moment that kind of made me a little bit
Foggy? Yeah,
I didn't like that. El Grande's avocados. just like yeah, that was a moment. I was a bit sad at that. It was nice though. It was nice because it was Matt and Karen, and they were kind of having the moment they probably should have had all that time ago, where they were reminiscing, but obviously they weren't in that place at that time.
Yeah.
But working together again, they're very good. This is the scene where we do get Matt bring up the heart rate thing, like, what's going on with you and Frank? And she was like, jealous. But then she also says, you would have heard my heartbeat when I saw you. And he was like,
yeah, adrenaline.
Yes, I did. yeah. So that was a little bit. There's a love triangle there, and it'd be a violent
out
one.
loud. Karen still loves him.
Yeah, that's
That's the
this-
relationship he needs, because she understands.
Do you think that? I mean, I prefer with the Punisher.
Well, I mean, that's a different kind of relationship, that's for sure. Like, that would be a terrifying relationship.
I don't know. I don't know if the Punisher. I don't know if the Punisher should have a romantic at all. There's something about him that's just so broken. If he had something like semi-normal, I don't think he'd be able to cope.
Turns out he gets laid and loses all of his anger, and actually it was just all pent up anger.
Yeah, I get that.
The
Yeah,
Punisher turns out is no longer the Punisher. He's more just slightly disciplined.
Yeah, he becomes like a soccer dad.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm good. Wearing a bum bag. But they do piece this together. Now, what they piece together is kind of MCU logic, not real life thing. I mean, they say that Red Hook is classified due to an old charter as a free port. Bit nerdy here, but free ports do exist around the world, and obviously back in days of yore, free port was something where you weren't paying taxes. Think pirates and things like that. Would love a free
Tortuga, whatever
port.
it is, yeah.
Yeah, Tortuga was a free port for the Pirates of the Caribbean fans. They do exist around the world in a sort of modern capacity, but Red Hook certainly isn't one in the real world, but in this MCU, it clearly, due to some ancient charter, Foggy found. Now, Foggy unearthed this and was going to use it as a kind of... So he couldn't have stolen anything there because it's not covered by US law, therefore my client's acquitted. So Foggy was like, I'm the daddy, I've discovered this ancient thing, this is amazing. What he didn't realise is what he discovered was putting a major issue for the Fisks, because Vanessa is operating at a Red Hook because she was able to do all of these deals away from prosecution because they are outside of US law.
Very clever.
So everything she was doing, very, very clever, very good. And obviously Fisk is now building on that by doing this massive Red Hook development where he can have casinos, hotels, ports, docks, everything there, and no one will be able to prosecute him for anything in Red Hook. You know, like literally where, you know, he commits murder there. He's outside of US law. And so it is a massive plot point that they discover. It's a massive thing, and it makes it clear why they wanted Foggy killed, because if he filed that, suddenly the city of New York would be aware of that and would probably repeal it.
Yep.
But now Fisk is mayor, of course he's not going to repeal it.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, it all ties in brilliantly. I love that. I like that because that's great writing. That is people that they've woven that in brilliantly. And it's been brought up a lot. What did you then think? Because obviously Matt then knows about Red Hook. He's going there, and the place is like a fortress. There are so many of these AVT, anti-vigilante task force everywhere. Matt's like, oh, I'm going in. And then there's this brilliant scene where Karen kind of talks him down. And I think only Karen would be able to do this. What did you think about that scene?
Yeah, there's not another character that we have met that would have the ability to stop Matt doing what he was about to, apart from
agreed.
Karen.
She really reached him, which was important. Because she's right. Not even if he was fully fit, and he wasn't, he was hurt, from the gunshot wound.
Yeah.
That the numbers of that were still too much. I mean, Frank went in there killing people, and the numbers were too much. Matt would go in there with a view of trying to knock people out. He would have been in big trouble.
Yep.
So she's absolutely right, and then we get this great line of, you're right, I can't do it alone. Okay, well, where are we going to go? We need to build an army. Where did your head go in that moment?
I'm completely honest with you. My first thought was, oh my God, let the Defenders music start.
yeah, I know what you mean.
My first thought was, oh my God, Luke Cage and Iron Fist and Jessica Jones are just going to go badass in there. Like, yeah, we've taken them down before. Let's do it again.
So we knew going into this that those other characters, those other actors hadn't been tapped for this series because originally, of course, there was going to be no links.
Yeah.
And then when the new showrunners come on, they've obviously linked in, which I'm so thankful for. And they obviously managed to bring the Punisher in. They obviously managed to bring Karen in and Foggy. I'm still mad about that. But what was interesting to me is, so my brain was like, oh wow, are we going to get like a cameo at the very end of like, perhaps even if it's just like Matt picking up the phone and going, Jessica, like, yeah, I need to see you, bring Luke, or like, Luke, yeah, do you know where Danny is? or just like, hey J Money, just like something. Or the one thing that his show lacked is Turk. We didn't see him in the whole show. I'm really disappointed in that. And in the back of my mind, I just had this perfect, like, Matt roughing up Turk going, do you know where Luke is? Oh, man, he's at Harlem's Paradise. Why are you always roughing me up? I'd have just been so happy. So my mind was, like, going in all these directions. What they gave us was a scene where Matt walks into a room and it's characters in there who, none of them are what we consider super. There's a few unnamed cops who clearly are not happy with like the AVT and aren't good. We see Cherry there.
Yeah.
Josie behind the bar. We see the detective who was hunting Muse, who was a friend of Cherry's as well. But we don't walk into the room with like you said, Jessica Jones or anyone like that. What did you think to that? Was that disappointing to you, or yeah? How did you feel about that?
Yeah, disappointment. Unfortunately, was not my first reaction to that, because I really thought, I even if it had been like the back of three people's heads, there's three people sat at a table, and you kind of see that one of them is a female with dark hair, one of them is a black bloke built like a brick house, and one's kind of like the scrawny kind of Danny Rose side, and you just seen the back of them. You could have instantly gone, oh my god, that's Rand, that's Cage, that's Jones. Didn't need to be them,
and then it fades to black, sort of thing. Yeah,
but it could have been okay. To have the characters that we did have, I'm like, okay, that's obviously a different route to where I was going, but. So I like that it's still quite grounded, like it's the cops on the ground and that sort of thing.
Yeah. I like you, had a very kind of like, my brain, like I just said a minute ago, went in all these directions of like who it could be. Even like Ms. Marvel and stuff like that. And we know that Spider-Man's a street level. He's referenced in this show.
Yeah.
So there's like all of these options that could be there. Now we have learned since in the media that Spider-Man cannot appear in a Disney Plus series because of the agreement with Sony.
Bullshit. Yes.
So he can be referenced in a kind of roundabout way, like a kind of a hero that climbs walls, and we're like, I know who that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, bastard.
Who swings from a web? Yeah, he does.
Yeah. But but this kind of moment to me, when I kind of took a step back from it, and I was like, Matt says we need to build an army. This is kind of like, okay, so this is day one, step one. Okay, I'm there. I get it. Like you've got there, like some of the police are on his side. Cherry's on his side. Josie's going to be clearly. This is going to be like their meeting place. Josie's bar is going to be like the
hideout,
the place, the hideout, or whatever. So it's kind of like, okay, I like this. Like you said, it's a very grounded, very kind of a street level movement. I think the issue you run into is a logic problem for me if in season 2 we don't see the Defenders, because Matt knows them all.
Yes.
And if you are building an army against Fisk, then it would be brainless, stupid for Matt not to be saying, Luke, Jessica, Danny. I mean, like, not only is Danny Rand the Iron Fist, he's a billionaire. Like, resources.
Well, exactly that, yeah.
Like, there is a lot to this where it would be daft. And like, to me, you would need to do something to really sell why they're not involved. Like, let's say the actors don't want to come back and you don't want to recast. You would need to find a way for them not to be involved that is logical. Because otherwise, that is a logic problem, don't you think?
100%. But then we have had this sort of thing before, haven't we? Like, there's been shows and movies where you're like, just phone Tony. Like, just...
Yeah.
Or, the Hawkeye show's going on and you're like, really? He didn't think to phone anyone? Like...
Yeah.
We've had this before. where major events
have
happened, and you've gone, really? You didn't think to phone your buddy Thor? Like, come on.
And we have at the time pointed out that is a logic problem.
Yes.
I get this scene completely, but I do think in the next series you need to introduce the others. I think they should be moving heaven and earth to bring them back, to bring that back. There are obviously ways you can write them out. Hell, the last time we saw Luke Cage, he'd kind of gone mafia boss, running Harlem's Paradise.
Yes.
Maybe he likes Fisk being in charge. Like, no, I'm good. I'm making money, baby.
I'm opening up 3 places on Red Hook. Why would I want to take him down? Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Red Hook Paradise is my expansion. So it's interesting. There's lots of ways you could do it, but I do think you need to write in rationale. I'd also love to see a scene with the Punisher and Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
Those two, the interaction between those two would just be incredible. Like, who are you? Frank. Oh, you're the Punisher.
Do you want to get a coffee? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. And everyone's out to coffee.
Karen and Luke,
finally,
Punisher and Jessica Jones. Rand still sat in the corner being a dick.
He's with Colleen. You leave him alone. We move on to probably the most brutal thing in this whole episode, and I've left it to the end before I talk about the crazy fan theory, which I nearly forgot.
I had it written down.
Well done, man. Quick question to you. Do you think Fisk and Vanessa, when you see them sit down at the very end, toasting next to the rabbit in the snowstorm with blood on it painting, they're 100% on? Like, the start of the show, I had some doubts about her motivations, his motivations. They are 100% in step now. Would you agree?
I think so.
Yeah, no, I 100%.
I do think so now.
What did you think to Fisk and Sheila when he basically, all those unloyal send them home, and then Sheila has that moment with Chief Gallo and records him?
Yeah, so when it happens, we just obviously, we see them talking to each other, and then it goes to Fisk hearing the recording. It took a moment for me to work it out. I was like, has he planted a bug on her because he doesn't trust her?
Yeah.
Has she recorded the whole thing because she is actually going to go full Fisk? Like, I didn't see her character as someone that was going to go full Fisk.
And she's like in the corridor, kind of broken up, crying over it. And I'm kind of like, has she done this? Like, is she now at the point of, I am terrified for my own life? And so she's kind of like, I need to do these things to save my own life. But Chief Gallo is then picked up by a member of...
someone who used to know by the sounds of it, yeah.
Of the anti-vigilante task force. Do you think they deliberately messed with us with a big black bald guy called Luke? Because I saw a lot of people doing these like live reactions going, oh my God, oh no, it's not. And I was kind of like, yeah, you could have picked any name in the world for that actor. That guy sat in that chair looking like that. You could have picked any name in the entire universe. Hey, Zobnob! No, you went Luke. You chose that on purpose.
Just to see people's reaction.
Just to fuck with us. I saw it. I saw you, you showrunners. I saw you. But he takes Gallo to Red Hook. All of the anti-vigilante task force is there like a friggin' army. Like a private army. He's kind of like, well, there's easier ways to see me, Mayor Fisk. And then he's like, you are still Kingpin, aren't you? And it was in that moment I was like, you're dead, man. You're dead.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're dead. How he died,
holy,
I was not ready for. How do you describe this?
Brutal.
Crushing?
I think that would work, yeah.
Fisk literally, using his bare hands, crushes the man's skull and rips his jaw away. and they used practical effects for this. They built a whole head facial thing for the guy to do this. So this is just an interesting thing I learned afterwards. So they only had 2 attempts to get the shot right because they only made 2.
Oh wow!
That,
Who sneezed? Oh, sorry.
I love practical effects. I just, it feels more visceral, and like the eyes bulging as it happened, I was just like, oh god, no. I had to look away. I knew what was coming, and you heard the noise, the blood, and Fisk like dabbing his mouth whilst his hands are just covered in blood.
Yep.
Like, oh, I'm fine. Did you notice the faces of the vigilante task force?
Oh, some of them are like, oh my god.
I think a lot of them, if not all of them, have got a look of like, oh shit, we just watched the mayor murder the chief of police in front of us. Oh shit. Are we the bad guys?
Yeah, that sudden moment of, oh, wait a minute.
Oh yeah, that was something. That's kind of, like I said, I mean, that he then all the martial law and everything like that. Now, I'm going to bring this crazy fan theory in now. Is there anything else from the episode you wanted to discuss before I finish with this?
No, I think I just, we're saying about the martial law and the curfew for 8 o'clock and everything.
Yeah.
Just seems so kind of like, wow. New York City is never going to survive a curfew at 8 o'clock. Like, this is going to be incredible season 2.
One thing that is we didn't talk about, but is worth talking about just very, very briefly before we go into this. There's the guy looting, and he gets shot, killed, and one of the anti-vigilante task force goes, "What are you doing? Like, he's just a young kid. He put everything down." And he pulls his beanie hat down. He goes, "Nah, he was a masked vigilante."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh shit! No, that's bad. Like we're evil then. Okay, you're bad guys. Understood. This is gonna be brutal." So the mad fan theory goes like this.
Okay.
It is impossible for the city of New York inside the MCU to be this. There are too many massive characters, including a Spider-Man film coming very, very soon, next year in fact, which is set in New York. So it is impossible for all of the MCU timeline and everything to work, and the New York to be this kind of cut off from the world. It doesn't work. There's too many superheroes based in New York.
Well, yeah, Doctor Strange is sitting there going, why is the lights all gone off?
Yeah, Thunderbolts literally is in New York and starts...
Of course, yeah.
Like, hits the cinema in a couple of weeks. So it doesn't make any sense. So the fan theory is this. And this is kind of crazy. Do you know from the comic book run what Battleworld is?
I do know of Battleworld. I know of it, yeah.
So Doctor Doom creates, after smashing timelines and going through obliterating universes, a world called Battleworld. And on Battleworld, there are zones. And each zone is kind of ruled by an overlord. And these zones are kind of like things from MCU past, present, and future, but all thrown into one world. Like, so Asgard is there. There's an Asgardian zone sort of thing, and there's different zones, all these different things. And so the theory is that actually all of this is happening on Battleworld, and this is like a New York zone run by Fisk. And these characters just know they're in New York, just like don't really know anything like that. I don't think this is true. I don't think this is accurate, but I do like the fact that they're because this show does have a serious MCU connectivity issue for me.
Yep.
But at the same time, one of the biggest issues I have with the MCU is how now the timeline for shows and films are all over the place.
Yeah.
And it is really difficult to now follow things in any sort of logical order. Now, years ago, when they were doing the initial phase of the MCU and they launched the TV show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it was linked through the odd episode referencing events in the recent film.
Yep.
And then the show would kind of take off from that as like a, it was almost like your mid-season episode would be whatever the film was, and then the second half of the season would kind of take you in the new direction based on whatever that film was that summer.
Yes.
I'm not entirely sure what their plan is now with the connectivity between the TV, because at the moment they've said, yes, it's all connected. But you're about to have a lot of problems with that.
I mean, that one night alone where Fist takes the power out, a certain little web shooting, wall crawling bloke would have been going absolutely crazy left, right and centre. Yeah. Because the Spidey sense would have been going nuts. Yep. And he would have been firefighting left, right and centre trying to, keep everything down.
It would have been crazy.
We've got Hawkeye, Kate Bishop around the area, and you've got Doctor Strange. We think he's off-world at the moment doing stuff, but
Doctor Strange is
people from the movies and stuff that would be around New York.
Yeah,
for when this is all happening, for them to be going, 1 second.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ant-Man. No, he's in San Francisco, isn't he? I was putting him in New York. He's the other side.
Like you would think as well, like this stuff was happening, then surely even Captain America, like surely even he's being made aware of all this stuff happening.
Well, this again is like where the timeline's so confused. Like, is Cap literally, whilst this is happening over in Japan? We just saw Captain America 4. Are the events of that concurrent? We don't know. And that's where it gets confusing, because I think Captain America 4 and Thunderbolts are going to link because of Bucky.
Yeah.
But is there any link to the TV show? We know Thunderbolts is set in New York. We've seen it in the trailer.
Yes.
So, yeah. Confusion of how they're going to do it, but the fan theory is that the way they're going to resolve it is to use Battle World, which is in Avengers Doomsday. But that's just a crazy theory. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. They have to, if they're saying everything is canon and connected, they have to connect it now.
They do.
I was wondering if this was going to be one of those multiverse things that we're not actually we're on Earth 615 or something.
617, yeah. It's really close to the main one, but not exact. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. But that is our show for Daredevil. I've loved it. I was looking forward to this show so much I was nervous, because I was like, oh no, I've looked forward to it so much. What if it doesn't live up to it? For me, it did. I think everyone who's kind of going, oh no, it wasn't as good as the originals, you're rose tinting the originals a little bit, but also everything evolves, everything moves on. The people are older. It's different showrunners. I accepted that. I mean, I've pointed out things I thought was a little bit odd, a little bit clunky, a few logic problems.
Yeah.
But overall, I loved it. I really enjoyed it. And this is right up there for Marvel Disney Plus shows for me. Like, this is, I mean, I'd probably put it at number one. I've liked a lot of them, but this show had something for me where it felt like television again. It felt like it was designed for TV, not just a movie that was 4 hours long cut up into episodes.
Yeah, agreed. No, this was very, very, very good.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, so that is our show. Thank you everybody for listening. All this leaves to be said is if you like our voices and you enjoy The Last of Us, we're going to be talking about season 2 of that show every single week. And if you're also a fan of Star Wars and or season 2 debuts next week, we will be doing a breakdown of each segment of those episodes, because they're releasing them 3 at a time over a few weeks.
Yeah, thanks for that, guys.
Yeah, keeping us busy. But yeah, until next time, everybody, you all take care. And Stefan, say goodbye to all the lovely people.
And goodbye to everyone else as well.
You're an asshole, Frank.
Yeah, I know.
Come on. Get in.
Shotgun.
Thank you for listening to the Stuff and Things podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. You can find us on Facebook or online Simply search the Stuff and Things podcast to join in our conversation every week.